How are you? Hello.
Well. I can read that. I didn't even notice.
I don't know, Dave. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to call this Borough Council ARPA community meeting on April 11th to order. And welcome everybody here. Roll call, please.
Mr. Long.
Here.
Mr. Craig.
Present.
Mr. Pitt.
Present.
Dr. Carpenter. Present. Ms. Jill Walter.
Present.
President Schmidt.
Present.
Mr. Alexander.
Here.
Mayor Ricufria.
Present.
Mr. Flota.
Here.
Ms. Provenza.
Present.
Yeah.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to, if anybody has a comment from the public, raise your virtual hand or come to the podium on public related items. This is on the ARPA budget. Okay, could you please, I
My
got it,
name is Linda
Nancy.
Samick. I'm at 639 Athletic Street.
But she doesn't turn on the mic.
Vince has it on.
Okay.
What was your last name?
Samick, S-A-M-E-C. We have a request. Our street has never been paved in 51 years. We know that because she's lived there 53 and she's lived there 60 and I've been there 45. And you saw it. They paved all the way up Church Street into Athletic. Then they stopped for our 6 houses and then they went over South Avenue and paved up there. It seems like every time they pave, they skip us and we really need that street paved. And we're wondering if there was any money in this budget, maybe we could get that done because 51 years is a long time. They come up with a cold patch and patch it. And before you know it, a couple cars go by and it's out. And I mean, the guys are trying, but it's just not working anymore. And we wondered if, why we can't have our street paved. They paved all the side streets to Peters. They've Upper Vogels, they paved all those, but our strip there of 6 houses just doesn't get paved.
I'm sorry, I missed your address. Where?
639 Athletic.
Athletic.
Now, the 700 block of Athletic's been paved once, I think twice. And Church Street has been paved up to Athletic and they just stop it. And stop it. I don't know why. Is there some reason why we can't get it paved?
This is public comment. We understand that you want Athletic Street paved. We're gonna hear from everybody, but it's not debate or back and forth comment. right
Okay,
now.
but we will hear something eventually about
Yeah,
this.
absolutely.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to add? Okay.
Vince, can you let?
Thank
me
you.
in?
Anybody else for public comment?
Hello. Hi, my name is Will Brown. I'm the board president at Steel City Rowing Club,
Give us your address, please.
101 Arch Street. And also I'm joined today by my colleagues and fellow rowers, Megan Gold and Bernasia Ward Caldwell. We're also interested in talking about road paving. I'm sure some of seen the condition of Arch Street.
Go ahead, sorry about that.
Sorry
That's
about
not a
that.
problem. Arch Street as well as Penn Street on the other side of our facility are both in desperate need of paving. There's also been some cold patching in the last 9 months or so, which we greatly appreciate. The reason that we feel this is important for the borough and the larger community is because of the proximity and location of the public docks, which are an asset to the community, we believe, and we've seen from the number of people that use the public docks. To have to navigate a pothole-ridden dirt road to get to the public docks, we feel is a shortcoming of accessibility for this public asset. And if there are resources, if there are means to improve the conditions of the road, we feel that there would be great benefit to the community and the broader surrounding communities being able to access the river from the Verona Public Dock. One other thing I'll mention is the bot trail, which I imagine all of you are at least aware of on some level, is in process of developing. And we feel that this paving would very greatly support interest, investment, and progress with the development of the bot trail.
Thank you.
Thank
Very good, thank you.
Nice to put a name to a face to a name now.
Oh, likewise. Yeah, thanks. First time with council meeting, so appreciate you having me.
Thank you. Any virtual hands, Vince?
Not that I see,
Not
let
that-
me scan down. No virtual hand.
Okay. We'll move on to the ARPA presentation from Stephanie Wolford, our borough manager.
The first thing I just want to point out, some of the things that are going to be occurring this year that have already, the money is already here and will be done, is there will be $75,000 going into, borough park improvements. We'll be extending the storm sewer up from First to Athletic. We are just got a grant to purchase a new Ford F-600 truck with salt equipment and a new leaf set. We also will be paving the following roads. These are the alleys we will be paving. We will be paving the alley between Parker Street and North Avenue, referred to as Oak Alley. Walnut Street between Athletic and First. The alley between Third and Fourth Streets, including the dead end, referred to as Peach Alley, and Sylvan Way. These are all being done through grants. This is not being done through ARPA funds. This is all through grants. As of right now, Verona, as for a balance as of March 29th, the borough has $245,615.76.
You're gonna change the slide?
I've got it.
Oh.
To spend through ARPA. The areas we're looking at would be administrative capital, general government capital, police, fire, sewer, DPW, which would include street, and parks capital. At this point, items that are being looked at are, we have one section left under sewer capital of the Wildwood culvert that has to be repaired. We'd like to finish Second Street. I know you've started, but it was never finished. And then there would be some work here to update security systems, especially for our computers and stuff like that. We do not have an in-house server, stuff like that, so we would be looking at doing things like that. These amounts are all estimated and will be bidded out. The next would be the remaining, there's about $75,000 left. And to look at paving roads. How, so what I did, Matt and I will actually sit down and pick. But last year they did a robotics project. And it looked at small projects that are in need of paving. And I picked anything that was currently in the red. So anything that's a 5 is the worst. Anything, and then there's the 4s. Parts of Sylvan Way are already on the verge of being completed. Arch Street is on there. I'm not sure where Powerhouse Alley is. 3rd Avenue, Vogel's Lane. But these are just suggestions from robotics. We would, just, you know, these aren't set in stone.
Excuse me, Vince, are you recording?
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't.
says it. Top left. Says recorded.
Okay.
I got it.
Then, you know, this is not set in stone. These are the streets that robotics said were the worst. Other ideas would be, tearing down condemned houses, as we've tried, multiple times to get grants through the state, through the county to do this, and looking at condemned houses. And then, you've given us ideas on roads that you would like to see paved. We didn't know if there are any other ideas. That's basically where I'm at.
The one alley behind.
Hold on.
We'll get the public comment.
So this would council have questions.
I'm asking, I'm a council member, might know, Powerhouse Alley, the alley off of First behind. Do anyone know where Jim Ashball lives?
Yeah, I think,
It's a big power.
I think
station.
that might be Powerhouse.
I've never heard of it either, and I know that's like a paper alley, so that might be what that's referring to.
Yeah.
I don't think, if that's the case, I don't think that needs to be on that list.
Like I said, we just pulled this-
I think that alley was claimed by owners, since it's a paper alley that's now people's yards.
I'm not sure where Powerhouse Alley
Yeah,
is.
Like I said, this was not, we removed, we took this all from the robotics that was done back in, last year. So I just, yeah, I'm not sure where all of these are at.
So,
Yeah, and that powerhouse, it rings a bell from when I did the street signs. It's a Google name.
It's over by that power plant, that little, right?
I don't think it's actually labeled powerhouse
Right,
out on the street.
right.
But robotics used all the Google
Here it is.
names. And those numbers are just snapshots. That's not saying that we're looking at that list of streets. It just cuts down on the amount of streets we have to then consider, because we can sort it by number. And obviously, if it's rated a good road, we don't have to waste our time even considering it.
so I'm looking at the list and, the people from athletic are here. And I see athletic on here. It's, 4.765, but I don't know if the athletic that's on here is the athletic that they're talking about. What are, I'm sorry,
I believe I know what you're talking from south to the church. Yeah, when you, if you're going up south and you make a right onto Athletic, that intersection, she's right. I go through that when I make that right hand turn about 3 miles an hour. Because if not, you're,
is that a dead end? Is it a dead
No.
end?
no, it leads to church. It turns into
Oh,
church.
okay, church.
And please understand, when we did this, this really was just a cut and paste, looking at the streets that were red.
Yeah,
I mean, this was not like, these are the streets I liked, because half of them, I don't even know where they're at. It was me taking a program that was used to the best of its ability, never thinking that Matt and I wouldn't sit down and discuss what the best way and where to go.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's
yeah,
warranted.
yeah, okay,
Definitely
good.
warranted.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to respond to their request. So Stephanie, I have a question. Paving of several deteriorated alleys, and I believe that Sylvan Way is in that number
Yeah.
4 from the beginning, right?
Yes, but you have to be careful because Sylvan Way, there's 3 parts of it, and
Yeah.
you're only paving 1 part.
Okay, but you did list this as an idea on the back as well,
Because there's parts of Sylvan.
right, to
that-
do the other parts,
Yeah.
depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah.
I've driven down Sylvan Way just as an experiment. And if you go more than 5 miles an hour, you'll bottom out on your car or break an axle or something, so. I'm just responding to your things as ideas. I would like to see Sylvan Way done. I'd like to see Arch done. If we can, I don't know if all this will fit. And I'd like to, respond to their request. 51 years is a long time.
I mean, I think this is something Matt and I.
We're gonna have to sit down and come up with.
Yeah, these are, I mean, this was never meant, I mean, the biggest thing that will happen this year, because everything, there's gonna be a lot of bidding going on, is, we will be doing the computer work in here, getting this all up, getting all the security up and stuff, because that stuff is a little bit easier, to do. We will definitely be bidding out second, because we want to get that finished, because we know that it got stopped. If I'm not mistaken, midway through due to an issue with flooding. So it needs to be finished. And then, so we don't know, like, these are all, like, the first year are all estimates. So there could be more money left over than what we know at this point. But I can go back. Here's year one, and I know Matt is always doing grants for paving and stuff, so there's also.
Yeah, and it hasn't been, probably first week of May, it'll be announced the CDBG. But I think there's a pretty good chance that we're gonna get another grant for the next block of Sylvan. So we'll at least have 2 of the 3 sections completed.
So we'll be able to, every time we get another project done means there's more money to be spent. And I know, I drive down Arch Street, I understand Arch Street.
More receipts.
Wade, put it on mute. I'm sorry.
He's all yours.
He's my husband.
Stephanie, are you done?
Yeah, I don't, unless there's questions.
Well, I'm gonna go to the next line item.
Yeah.
At this time, we'll take comments from the public. Come to the podium, or raise your virtual hand, state your name and address, please, and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
My name is Mary Worthing. I live at 640 Athletic Street. And I think a big concern is that alley, I'm misunderstanding something here. You're saying the alley behind Ashbaw's house, people have bought that privately? Is that what I'm understanding?
We're not sure.
We don't know. I was just trying to find the location of Powerhouse Alley.
Okay, that's Cherry Way.
Okay,
We've known that for a long time. But the thing is, they're gonna open that daycare center. That alley back there is atrocious. And that daycare center is gonna be bigger than that church daycare center that was in there. We get a lot of traffic and we are gonna get a lot more traffic from that. And that's why we're getting concerned, because people come out of that alley and almost slide into my yard over there, and the whole, that's Cherry Way, which they call Cherry Way on Fulton House.
Okay,
But that's our concern, is none of that has been ever paid. It's all cold patched. And as soon as people drive over it, it's gone.
Is that
You know-
take care of the issue of the zoning hearing board that's coming up?
Yes.
Okay, there's a zoning hearing board meeting on that daycare, so you might want to attend that
Okay.
and participate in that if you'd like.
All right, but I didn't know that those people bought that, could buy that privately. I mean, I have a connection to Cherry Way across the Athletic Street. Like, here's Cherry Way behind Ashbaw's house that you're all talking about. Then there's Athletic Street here, and then here's Cherry Way continued on beside my house, where we park.
excuse me.
we were talking
meant
2
another
different,
asphalt.
yeah, you were
There's
talking,
another asphalt lives off of First Street.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
Oh.
that's Jim.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a.
well,
power
Jim
plant.
used to live on
Yeah.
that alley.
There's a power plant in his backyard.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe that's why that's a paper.
But why are
application.
you so concerned about doing Vogel's? When that's a mess up at the other end that you're paving already second. Why not just come down and pave it?
We need you to wrap up your comments. We got other people waiting.
Okay. I'm wrapped up.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Don't forget the zoning hearing board meeting.
When is it?
On 17th?
Monday, I
Yeah,
think.
Monday.
Yeah.
Hello, it is I again, Will Brown with Steel City Rowing Club. The idea was shared to share additional ideas, and I know that budget is tight, and with respect to priorities, another thought that comes to mind is the idea of signage, particularly for the public dock and access to the river. We've had some conversations with Friends of the Riverfront, nonprofit that has some signage down by the public dock as a part of the Allegheny Water Trail. And I think signage could also.
They're adding.
They're in the
Okay,
process
they are.
now of getting new
Okay,
signage.
cool. Awesome. Well, good to know.
This spring, they're putting new signs out.
Okay, and similarly, if there, I don't know what kind of restrictions there might be on these funds or monies that would be able to go toward paving, but we, even possibly Friends of the Riverfront and other similarly minded groups are open to talking about matches, fundraising. We paved that apron between our boathouse and Penn Hills, basically ourselves, and if we can help to make it happen, open to those conversations, so.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
Brown.
appreciate
Very
it.
good, thank you.
Dave Matlin has his hand up virtually.
Hi, good evening. Dave Matlin, 722 Bruneau Street. I just want to thank council and Stephanie for having this meeting. I think it's good to hear public input on the way that money is being spent, even if it's not local taxpayer dollars. It is money that came from taxpayers. I do like some of the ideas proposed for the use of the ARPA money, particularly the AV. I think I saw AV equipment for the council chambers, and some other improvements there in the borough building. And I know there's a limited amount of money and a lot of things on a wish list. There was a dot exercise last year that a lot of people gave input on. I'm just going to list a few other things that for council to consider. There's potentially sanitary sewer lining. I'm not sure what the latest is from Matt on how much is going to need lined in the next few years, but that's something to consider. That could be used, something that could be used, ARPA money could be used for. There's also the school street steps and storm sewer rehab. Those steps are closed. They're in poor condition. There's a storm sewer underneath them. It's also in poor condition. I know that an active transportation plan was recently completed. So this would be a great opportunity to invest in a pedestrian improvement that would restore walkability, but also it would take care of storm sewer issues on a steep slope below School Street and behind the Dentist Church. Another possibility is ADA curb ramps borough-wide. There's a lot of intersections where the sidewalks don't have ADA ramps. This is a hazard for people in wheelchairs, scooters, or people with other mobility issues. It's also an issue for parents with strollers. This could be another walkability improvement for active transportation. And then paving, I've heard a lot of comments tonight about paving. I'm definitely in favor of paving Arch Street. I travel that one and I know that it's in pretty rough shape. I think there's a lot of streets, in fact, that are well beyond their useful life and need to be repaved. I would ask that the borough publicize the data from the robotic survey so that the public can see how their roads rank. I think it's really helpful. We're just way behind on paving due to the budget cuts of the last few years. We've been trying to do a lot with a little bit of money, but essentially a lot of these budget cuts, including the paving, was due to council not having the political courage to raise taxes to a level where they should be in order to keep our borough viable and in a state of good repair. I really think that aside from ARPA, there should be about $100,000 devoted to paving annually, just in order to keep up with roads that are, falling into disrepair. There's not enough money in the current annual borough budget to properly maintain the infrastructure that the borough owns. So I think more revenue is needed there. I would like to hear from all council members and their thoughts about spending the ARPA money. I didn't really hear a lot of chatter from council. I keep hearing at every meeting that, you know, we need to look into it. We need to sit down and figure it out. But I think now's the time to sit down and figure it out in front of the public with all of council there. So thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Anybody else? Well, seeing that we're gonna go into our regular meeting in a couple minutes, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Long, second by Mrs. Provenza. Any questions?
I just was wondering if some of the other council members that haven't spoken wanted to say something more about their ideas for
I
ARPA.
think we're all in the beginning stages, and I think we've all discussed it a little bit. About the infrastructure, the computer system and everything here, and some of the projects that she has on the list. That's where we come up with this list.
Okay,
I think what we need to do is. We know the computer stuff, the AV stuff, we're good, but I think the next step is going through and looking at. Which projects as a board we want to put the most emphasis on after those projects. So Matt and I can sit down and kind of figure out a list of roads, and at the next workshop meeting, maybe we can sit down and discuss.
yeah, and also maybe decide what to use ARPA money on that we can't get grants on. And try to get grants for things that, you know, that are on this ARPA list, but maybe we could get grants for them. We could use the ARPA money for something we can't get grants on. I'm not familiar with off the top of my head what that would be, but that would be part of what I would consider.
Any other questions? All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Passed. Thank you for joining us for our community meeting. We need to do something for the regular meeting, Vince. Are you
Ready.
good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can stay. You know, don't have nothing to do with the paving. I don't want you.
We'll have another, we're getting ready to go right into our new meeting, then we'll have another period of public comment.
Okay.
would you lose your agenda?
Yeah.
It's right there.
No, that's the, oh geez, I thought that was the, oh,
It's the ARPA agenda.
yeah,
Yeah.
we all ready?
No, we don't do the glass.
We should.
It's up to you, it's a new meeting.
It's a new meeting. I'd like to welcome everybody to the April 11th Verona Borough Council Business Meeting. This time, I'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Long.
Present.
Mr. Craig.
Present.
Mr. Nick.
Present.
Dr. Carpenter.
Present.
Ms. Walter.
Present.
President Bushevich.
Present.
Mr. Craig, Alexander. Mr. Alexander. Mayor Recupero.
Present.
Present.
Mr. Floto. Ms. Provenza.
Present.
You'll never get it. Any additional emergency agenda items? This time we'll go to registered public comments. Shirley Davis from the Verona United Methodist Church.
You might want to listen to Mary because she makes the best pizzelles.
All right, that's a deal. If she
My
brings it, we'll
name
give her
is,
an extra minute.
My name is Sean. You know what I meant, good. Anyways, my name is Shirley Davis. I'm with Twin Boroughs Health Ministry. which is out of Verona United Methodist Church. This is Al DeCio. I'm sorry. He is the trustee and the treasurer of Verona United Methodist Church. Our main reason for being here, I didn't know if Stephanie gave everybody a little, yes, thank you. What we're looking for is that we want, our church is definitely old enough to be a historic site, okay? I need some kind of, I was going to ask Craig, as a matter of fact, if he could guide me in the way to go for a grant once we reach the historic, once it is set in stone, okay? And I don't know how to do that, so I figured within the next couple of months, maybe Craig, you could advise me on what way to follow that.
Sure, I mean, I'll do anything I can do to help you guys. I don't really do grant work.
Okay.
For the
Who
borough.
does the grants now for the borough?
It would be the borough manager and,
Okay.
and if
Well,
there-
maybe I
if it's
can pick some
infrastructure related, it
brains,
would
you
be
know, to
Mr. Pitt.
figure out how to do it, you know. But every one of you, I wanted you to be able to look on the back of that letter and see all the things that come out of Verona United Methodist Church. And I have had help from every one of you here, and I appreciate it and thank you very much. We're not looking for anything else from the borough of Verona, that we want to thank you for always hearing us. And if there's some way that I can get you to help me figure my way through this grant, that's what I'm asking for.
We'll do everything we can to help you out.
Okay, and I thank each and every one of you for everything. And I'm sorry, Vince, the pizzas are gone for August dinner.
We'll figure something out.
They had to do it for, it's gonna be April dinner, that they're gonna be individual 4-cut pizzas that go to each and every person that comes.
Sounds great. Thanks for
Okay,
all you do.
and then they're gonna do salad, and they're gonna do dessert and water. So I think it'll be something different that we haven't had, you know. So thanks, Tim, Red. I don't know the other gentleman. Nancy, thank you. Ray, thank you. Craig, thank you. Mayor Rubio, thank you. Vince, Sylvia, and Stephanie, thank you for everything that you
Thank
do
you.
for us.
His name's Matt.
Same to you.
Matt.
Hi,
Hey, Shirley, have you started having indoor
it is
seating?
going to start in May, the end of May.
Okay.
Yes, this will be the last takeout one.
Mhm.
And then the other thing is that, when the lady was speaking to, the Presbyterian Senior Care, where it's going to turn, I mean, Presbyterian Church, that's going to turn into a daycare. We understand that we are not going to be able to have the summer camp there this year because they can't get the building finished in time. So I believe what we're going to do is that we're going to hand out the lunches at Verona United Methodist Church for anybody under the age of 18. But we're trying to figure if we can bring them inside into our into our dining room and sit them and feed them and play some games, different things like that with them, you know. So I think it'll work out. It's just going to be a lot of work to try to get it together, but we'll always succeed. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And Al, thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley.
Oh, you're welcome.
At this time, we'll go to comments from the public. This time, council will hear comments on public related items. Please approach the podium or raise your virtual hand. State your name and address. Limit your comments to 3 minutes, please.
My name is Mary Crowley, and I live in Atlantic Street. My husband, well, it's gonna be 2 years he's been dead. And I had a picture, his military picture put up, and they had him at the pole across from the post office. And I was so happy because that's where he worked. So all of a sudden, I didn't see it anymore. So I came down and talked, okay, 2 times. And they told me that somebody hit the pole and they were waiting to be replaced. This has been 2 months. So I would appreciate Memorial Day's coming, and I like to see my husband's picture up.
Miss Curley, can I ask, can we move it? Because it will not, the light post across from the post office will not be finished in a month. That it was completely knocked out of the ground. It's gonna take, it's back and
Can we put it somewhere else
we'll
temporarily?
move it back.
Yes,
Okay.
Until the new poles.
that's fine. That's okay, but I will appreciate if it's gonna be back up.
Absolutely.
just want it
was
back,
happy
okay.
because he was right there, that's where you worked, and all of a sudden, it was gone, and it's been 2 months.
So what's gonna happen is to get his picture banner back up in time for Memorial Day, is that we're gonna put it at a temporary location. And then when the pole at the post office is back, we can move him back to his place of work.
That's fine, I will appreciate that.
Absolutely.
very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I see Dave Matlin.
Hi, good evening, Dave Matlin, 722 Brunow Street. And just, I saw on the agenda, there's an item to, there's a motion to remove a member of the Parks and Rec Board. I just think this is a waste of time and energy to expel a rec board member, volunteer who seems to have good intentions, but maybe needs some direction or some better feedback from council on how to be a better volunteer. And I'm assuming this item is referring to Mr. Rybacki. But I just think the time and effort of council and staff over the last few months on this issue would be better spent on talking to the public more about the ARPA money and developing a plan for capital projects and addressing the paving and infrastructure issues around the borough. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Laura?
Hi, Laura Jacko, 437 North Avenue. I had a comment about the same thing, mostly because I sit on the Parks and Recreation Board. And frankly, I'm confused about what's going on because talk of removing anybody that's not something we've really been talked about. I feel completely out of the loop as to what's going on, and I sit on the board. I am confused and don't understand what's happening on a board that I sit on, and I feel like that's not a great look. And also, I don't understand because I don't see anything that's ever happened that would require such a conversation, and certainly a conversation that would occur outside of the board itself. So I'm confused, disheartened, and my opinion was not asked for it, and it's something that I also disagree with. So I at least wanted to put that out there because it's something that hasn't been actually brought up to the actual board. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura.
Thanks, Laura. Anybody else? Okay. Comments from the advisory boards and commissions, nothing. We'll go to reports. First things, approval of the minutes. We all have our minutes here for February 14th. Can I have a motion to approve them? Motion by Mrs. Provenza, second by Mr. Craig. Any questions? All in favor? Against? Passed. The next thing, I have a real quick update on Lower Valley. We had a COG meeting, a special meeting with a guy named Ken Hellendale from DCED and State Representative Mandy Steele, the state rep across the river. They gave a presentation on the whole EMS deal with what's happening in the state, how the numbers are down, the billing challenges. There's just a lot of things going on in the EMS. The cost that they're having. So with that being said, it's just a state more, not even just a state problem, it's a nationwide problem. EMS and the billing and everything like that. And I just wanted to reiterate that Lower Valley is still covering Verona. We are still having meetings with Lower Valley to try to work out deals of what's coming down the road. I mean, we have never had to pay for service for ambulance service in the borough, and none of the boroughs and municipalities, the little boroughs and the little townships have. And that's something that's gonna be coming down the road real soon here. So the general public's gotta know that there's gonna be some Lower Valley is gonna start billing the borough of Verona, along with the boroughs that the other six townships that they deal with. So they do still cover Verona. Don't be afraid to call 911 if you need them. And until we get this all worked out, we do have coverage. Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay. If not, that's all I have. The mayor's report, Mayor Recupero.
Yeah, two real quick things. One of them is the update on the police body cameras. The chief is here. Chief, during your report, could you give the board the update on that? This way I don't lose nothing in translation. And the other thing too is we're at that time of year where we have break-ins in cars. And it's all on the news that other communities, they're being broken into cars. So I urge everybody, please lock your car. I have been a victim of that myself. I didn't lock it. And it was broken into. And please don't, I wish you wouldn't comment on the police. Where's the police at? You have to take responsibility also in locking your cars. And especially do not leave your guns in the car. That's a big problem and you hear it on the news all the time, you know, guns are stolen out of the cars. So lock your doors. It's that time of year. That's all I have to say. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Mayor. Borough Manager Stephanie?
Yes, I have a couple things. First thing, I was informed at a fish fry. That we usually give a donation to the Memorial Day Parade.
Oh, yeah.
I have not received a formal request, but I'm thinking that the gentleman at the fish fry thought that was a formal request, so I'm asking you if I should go ahead and do a donation and how much it should be.
Yeah, we do every year.
We do $150 or $200.
I believe it's like 200.
250 is what I recall.
I know it's around $200 we do. I missed the meeting this past week. They have a monthly meeting. I'm on the board. I didn't go this month.
Do you have a suggestion on what you would like to do?
My recollection from the past is that it's been 250.
I don't remember. I thought it was 150 or 200.
No, I run into Rich Luciano quite a bit.
Stephanie, can you check on what we've been given in the past, please?
And I'll bring it.
Yeah, he reminds me.
Well, he told me, I think 150, but then said something else, so. I will
Okay.
look into it.
So
Well, I'm
we
fine
really
with
need to
last.
bring it to the workshop. If Stephanie confirms what we paid last year, is all of
Right.
mayor and council okay with
Yes,
donating the same amount this year?
yes.
Yeah, because they're getting things for, next month and they
Right.
could use the money, sooner than later. So to speak.
Whatever we gave last year, Stephanie, that's what we're gonna give this year.
Okay, that worked. Rock salt, because you can never have enough rock salt in life. There is a current discussion ongoing with Cargill about the storage of extra salt that we have to do to complete our purchase requirements for the current year. So as of right now, that is still in conversation and we'll wait to hear back. In the meantime, we have to look at next year. So we have to attach a letter that sets forth that we will again look at purchase our rock salt through Cargill, and that's all through one of the cogs. So we've done it in years past. So I will send out the letter And we will go from there. And like I said, they're also working on the issue of, they know we're all working on the issue of, what I was saying, that extra.
Where to put
that they can
Yeah,
get.
storage.
We don't know how much salt that is, do we?
Not off the top of my head. I ask and then I forget because I don't write it down. So.
They have a lot of room down there. They can,
Yeah, they can, the problem is, but it's everybody. So they're trying to cut a deal with everybody, so that like some don't have to take it and some do. They're
Right.
trying to cut it with everybody. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll keep you up to date. You all should have received an email about, Selden Avenue, the Steve Green volunteers will meet, on Monday, April 24th. And then they're doing a native seed mix, on the site on April 28th. They said they brought this to council in September.
Yeah, check, it was approved.
Fertilizing at the park, so everybody knows and hears. On Thursday, April 13th, they will be fertilizing the parks. I will send out a text and I will place it on Facebook and I will place it on the website tomorrow. But again, they are fertilizing the parks Thursday.
We're gonna leave them locked up there all day.
Baseball asked if we would open them. The fertilizer guy said we could, so that is up to you guys.
I would suggest leave them closed for the day.
Okay, I will let the baseball people know.
I mean, it's one day and
Right.
Can we put a sign up so people understand why it's being locked, so the police don't get a bunch of phone calls?
Well, there'll be signs out there. You can maybe put it on Chris Field sign.
Right on the, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, people just come to the door of the park and it's locked.
We'll see what we can get out there. Like I said, we're also gonna send it out in text or Facebook and website, so. Hopefully it'll get out there. Last but not least, on Saturday, April 22nd, Allegheny Clean Ways will be working in partnership with Steel City Growing to host a cleanup. They will be working on the SDR dock to pick up litter on the riverbanks along, and they will also be along ARB, Giant, and Street up to Sandy Creek Road.
I'd like to just add on to that, Public Lands is gonna be there as a new division, and they're gonna have, outdoor pizza oven set up and be donating do-it-yourself pizzas and quesadillas. And Patagonia is gonna be there, and they'll be giving out like raffle prizes.
Can you is there an ad or anything? I tried to get something from Clean Ways and I haven't seen it yet.
I have the email from Will that I'll forward to you, and he did actually just, the other day, sent me a link to sign up and volunteer. I'll send
I
that to you.
want to be able to put that out. That's all I have.
okay, thank you. Code enforcement report.
You have the report from VIU as of right now. There are 17 total reports, here, and you can see where they're at, if you'd like to look them over.
It's a nice report. Very good, thank you. Police chief's report, Chief McLemore.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Chief.
This is for March. We received 139 complaints, 23 total crimes reported, 23 crimes cleared. We had 8 arrests, 2 crime code summaries issued, 7 vehicle code summaries issued. Borough code summaries issued 25 and 120 borough parking tickets issued in March. Our revenue sources and magistrates fines collected was $476.46. Borough fines and fees is $120. And then we had amusement fees of $5,200 and municipal fines $351.81. Total fines and fees collected was $6,248.27. Now parking permits was $165. And talk about the body cameras a little bit. We are hoping to make May 1st is our official starting date for using the cameras. Right now, we're still kind of getting everything together as far as making sure everything's on board. We have to train the guys a little bit on how to use them, operate them. They have to log in to the system and log out every day, that kind of stuff. So we just gotta, we hope to have May 1st as our official starting date. Okay?
Very good.
Just in case everybody doesn't know, the Allegheny County Chiefs of Police Association was one of them, was the grant that we used. But thank you.
Chief, thank you.
Thank you.
Fire Chief's report, Dan Teehee.
Good evening, council. The fire company answered a total of 6 calls for the month of March, starting 3/9. Natural gas smell, 6:30 Church Street, Verona, nothing found. 3:17, gasoline spill at 800 Allegheny River Boulevard in Verona, 13 gallons of fuel spilled. 3:25, commercial fire alarm, 91 Colorado Street in Penn Hills, false alarm. 3:30, residential fire alarm, 6292 Keita Road in Penn Hills, false alarm. 3:31, odor of smoke in a commercial structure at 1215 Halton Road in Oakmont. It was an overheated wall heater. And 3:31, commercial fire alarm, 91 Colorado Street in Penn Hills, false alarm.
Thanks, Dan.
I have a question. 91 Colorado Street, it looks like 2 false alarms in 1 month,
That's correct.
and we have an ordinance, right?
That's
Ray?
actually in Penn Hills, though.
That's Penn Hills.
Oh, I'm sorry, never mind. That's too bad.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, Dan. EMS report, Lower Valley.
Good evening, my name is Ethan Puskas. I'm one of the community liaisons to Little Valley. I'm appealing on behalf of Jamie. He had to be at the Indian Township meeting tonight. In the month of March, Little Valley responded to 41 total emergency calls in Bolo. Of those, 5 had to go to mutual aid, about 15–16%. And just so the public knows what that means, mutual aid basically is along the lines of all ambulances will come in on another call. So the call automatically went to Penn Hills, Plum, whichever one would be the next closest unit. And that's all automatically done through the county. So it's important that the public knows no matter if we have an ambulance available or not, someone will come. Even in the small 10–15% chance that it won't be us, on another call along those lines. But we were never allowed to solve this. We always had an ambulance staff. It's just the question of if it was on a double call or not. Of those calls, we had 32 life-threatening emergencies, 9 BLS non-life-threatening emergency calls. We had 4 patients who refused EMS after they arrived on scene. We had 1 cancellation and 1 false call. In other news from us, we updated our website this month. It's now actually up. We used to not have one for a short while, but now it's up so everyone can know what's going on. And we plan on keeping the public more aware of what's going on for us on that website and on Facebook, just so the public's aware of what's going on. And also to touch on what Council already said regarding the DCED meeting and funding for Little Valley. That's unfortunately the reality of EMS nowadays. It's not really profitable for 911 service on billing insurance anymore. It hasn't been for some time, but I think now everyone's kind of seeing the reality of it. Council already mentioned that Atlanta is a small blow, obviously willing to work with everyone we have on that in terms of what they can contribute. It's not going to be an ultimatum or nothing along those lines. All meetings actually tomorrow night, we're going to be working on some kind of financing plan for next year's budget. You guys will absolutely be involved in that discussion. So we have a community at least. I will be more than willing to take any questions from council, anyone in the community, if anyone has any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, do you still have that vacancy on the board?
I can check and find out for you. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay,
Yeah, I haven't heard of anybody.
no,
Change my
last
vote.
we heard there was a vacancy.
I won't meetings tomorrow night. I will be more than willing to find out because I'll be in that meeting and I can let you know.
Okay.
If I won't, Jamie will. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, thank you. guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Solicitors report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did submit a written report. I don't have anything to add to my written report with the exception of notifying the public that council did hold an executive session immediately at 6 o'clock this evening prior to tonight's meeting in the public hearing to discuss personnel issues. One of the personnel issues discussed was the next item on my report, which is a recommendation of action on removal of Parks and Recreation board member. the borough manager did offer a recommendation at that personnel session in favor of removal. We've heard some public comments from members of the public on the same issue. If the board chooses to act on the manager's recommendation, then now would be the time and a motion would be in order.
Under new business.
Oh, is it under new business also? Okay, so that would be covered under new business. And that's all I have to report.
Was it on?
It's item number D, as in dog, under new business.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Solicitor. Engineers report?
Thank you, Mr. President. You have my written report. I just want to point out a few updates since it was submitted. We received correspondence from the county health department in regards to the Cribs Pavilion and concession stand. They have since changed their regulations, and based off some of the equipment we have in the facility, they now deem it as a food preparation facility. They are stating that we need to upgrade the 2-bowl sink to a 3-bowl sink with a grease trap, and there has to be a separate hand washing facility. This is not overly hard, but due to it being in Allegheny County, plans have to be put together and sent to County Plumbing Division for approval. So I just wanted to bring that to council's attention and just make sure that we were okay with me proceeding with those submissions.
Yeah, what choices? Brand new
Well,
pavilion and we can't.
The only choice we would have is to just drop back to everything's prepared. You bring it in wrapped already, but the only issue with that is they've since taken it a step further. You have to have a second facility labeled as your dishwashing facility, which Tim said he could have the Village Inn set that up, but it's not very feasible. I mean, the whole purpose of the concession stand is hot dogs and hamburgers, so I think that's the route to go. I just wanted to bring it to council's attention.
I was thinking being a brand new building, you wanna update it while you're going.
Okay.
So how much would you anticipate approximately this would cost, but with the plans and the actual doing it?
I can send out an email tomorrow. It would not be me doing plans. I'd have our architect do it, but I don't imagine much because we have the plans of the building already. It's just adding some extra plumbing in the sinks. So I would not think that it's going to be much. I'm sure there's a small fee to the plumbing division, but nothing.
And then for the actual sink and installation?
Yeah, so the 3-bowl sink, it might run several $100s, and the hand wash sink is just the same as what's in the restroom, so probably 100 or 200 installed, but I can get some quotes as well. Yeah, we could, or we could use
That's
it,
good.
use it elsewhere in the borough as well.
Sell the sink we have and then, yeah, to offset the cost.
Yeah.
So maybe total $1,000 altogether?
Well, probably by the time you hire a plumber to do the work, I would think we're gonna be between 2 and 3 by the time the plans are submitted and the appliances are installed.
2,000 to 3,000.
But I can get a better idea
Yeah.
and send out an email.
Yeah, just one ballpark.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As Stephanie mentioned, as part of the ARPA funds, there is one more section of the culvert, the Wildwood culvert, that's in pretty poor shape. That's located in front of the building that was torn down, or the upstream section from where we just did. The old structure there had old beams supporting the sidewalk, and they're pretty much non-existent. So I did get 2 quotes already. We're under the bidding threshold. I'm waiting on the 3rd quote, so I hope for next month's meeting, I can have that information submitted and we can discuss awarding at the next meeting. And then as far as the next meeting as well, the 2023 Greenways Trails and Recreation Program grant is open. We're looking to submit for basically the same comprehensive park plan that we did for DCNR to either be awarded that one at a lower match or to be possibly used to cover each the other grants match. So I'll have resolutions and funding letters for the next meeting. And an additional item that came up this week, I took a phone call. We also are aware of an existing issue as well along Maple. County hauling has been cutting some corners, especially in alleyways. The one phone call I took this week was from Rhoda. She was actually requesting that she could install her curb back and place a large rock there. I told her I would bring this to council's attention. I told her that this is maybe something that Craig and I need to reach out to county hauling with and have a discussion with them, that if it continues, that we possibly look at the fine structure with them or their bond. As far as a resident having to replace their curb, though, I don't feel that that's necessarily something that they should have to do, and maybe something we could ask DPW to do with cold patch temporarily. I don't want to run out and do a final repair just for them to run it over again.
Could we possibly use some of the grant money for the parks that we have this year for the concession stand?
The only problem with using the grant money is it would have to be part of a bid project. So I mean, if we want to hold off until those projects are bid, we could. If it's something we wanted to get done sooner, we wouldn't be able to.
Henry, you were asking for some feedback about the curb and the rock. Did you need?
So I was just looking more or less if I could work with Stephanie and have DPW kind of reestablish it temporarily. And until maybe Craig and I can have a conversation with county hauling, put a little bit of pressure on them to try to talk to their drivers, and then if it can more or less put it in writing, warning them that if it continues, we're gonna take it to the fine level.
Yeah, that we could also put a bulliard there too.
Well, I think that was the purpose of her recommending a rock.
I have a question. I'm not sure if that curb is concrete or asphalt. Would you be, if it's concrete, or would you be able to use cold patch?
On the phone, she stated it was asphalt. I did not go and look at the curb, so I'm not entirely.
Don's saying it's asphalt.
Asphalt, okay.
Yeah, the one
and-
on Maple is cement. That's why I was just making sure.
Yeah, so really, the reason I'm recommending cold patch right now is it's something that we could do immediately in-house. And then the chances are that until we get this worked out with county hauling, it unfortunately will probably be run over again. So at least cold patch is an easy fix rather than spending the time to cut it out and put hot mix just to have to do it again.
I guess my question would be, is there any reason why they couldn't, I'm not sure what a bulliard is, but
It's a pipe.
a pipe, okay.
It's just-
But if they want to get a rock for decorative purposes or whatever, is there any reason why they couldn't do that like tomorrow? Would it interfere with the ability to put the new curb in, to have a rock there?
No, they could put the rock, I did not do a detailed review. She did mention that it might be on the edge of the borough right away. But at the same time, I don't see any issue with it if people are cutting corners, that there is something there to try to deter. But at the same time, I don't think the homeowners should have to be repairing the curbs if it's not damage that they didn't cause.
Right. Okay,
So I will just work with Stephanie and we'll talk with DPW to try to fix something up, because every time it rains, her mulch is washing out into the alley now.
mhm. Thanks for that clarification.
And just one other minor thing, I've had preliminary talks with the Allegheny County Conservation District. They have a dirt and gravel low volume road grant. I'm trying to set up a meeting with them to review Arch Street. It could possibly qualify for that grant. I know gravel roads get a bad name, but they have an aggregate called a driving surface aggregate, that once it goes down out of a paver, and it gets hard like asphalt. So for a low volume road like that, it can actually be a really good option that the program pays for. So not Not saying that it will happen, but it's another option. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Anybody have anything for Mr. Pitch?
Any
Nope.
update, Matt, on the Sylvan Way paving?
So the first section towards the children's center, that's part of the GEDF grant. I'm in talks with the COG. He's pushing that forward so we can get it out the bid. The next block is part of the GEDF grant, which will be announced early May. But it's looking favorable that we will get that grant.
Awesome, thanks.
Thanks, Matt. Okay. Committee reports. Finance, Nancy.
Yeah. Okay, so, in the month of March, our, revenue was $409,616. Our expenditures were $292,656. So, we definitely have we are in the plus column for the month of March, and our total income for the year is $249,692. So we're following along the usual trend, where around this time and next month, there'll be a lot of revenue because of taxes coming in. And this looks like we're on target for our budget. In terms of any major expenditures or major receipts or revenues, the most notable is the revenue from Pliget from the Act 655 Highway Aid revenue of 700.
No.
No,
72.
I was gonna say, this looks awfully high.
There was a, you already made a misprint.
Okay. 72,448, that seems more what was like on target. There was really no report of any major expenditures from our monthly bills in March. So, and then you guys all have your report of bills paid. Does anybody have any question about the bills? What was paid this month? So at that point, I would make a motion to approve paying the bills for the month of March.
Motion was made to pay the bills for the month of March by Dr. Carpenter,
Second.
second by Sylvia. Mr. Venza. Any questions? All in favor? Against? Passed.
And the only other thing, thank you, Ray. The only other thing I have, unless there's other questions about the finances, I'd be happy to try to answer. Otherwise, we did have the ARPA budget review meeting at 6:30 this evening. And basically, there were several comments from the public involving how to use the ARPA money, including specific requests for areas that haven't been paid for a long time. And we're considering all that. Stephanie did a great slide presentation of what we have, what we're looking at spending the money on. And then we had more comments from the public, and they're all good ideas. And we're taking those ideas under advisement, and we'll be reporting back periodically as that occurs. And that's all recorded too, so that if people missed the ARPA budget meeting, they'll be able to see it on recording.
Very good.
And that's my report.
Thank you, Nancy. Recreation and community events, Mr. Craig.
Yes, I just have a couple things. One, I wanted to thank Stephanie and the chamber for the Easter egg hunt on Saturday. I think it was a great community event. Seems like everyone had a good time. There's also, as Stephanie Wolford brought up about the Steel City Road and Clean Waste having a Earth Day cleanup on the 22nd. And I also wanted to mention that Kathy Maddox with the Litter Getters of Verona is also doing cleanup. If you go on their Facebook page, Litter Getters of Verona, and you can sign up for areas to clean up. That's from the 21st to the 23rd. So that one isn't one particular day. It's like a weekend. You can pick which days you want to do.
That's it.
That's all for me.
Thanks, Mr. Krug. Public safety, Mrs. Provenza.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President, and good evening all and welcome. Vince, Tim, and myself interviewed two candidates for the Civil Service Commission. Both presented well, and that position is going to be filled. Also, we discussed parking fines. We are at an all-time low with our parking fines. Compared to all the other municipalities, we're way down below. So there's going to be some changes made on that. Also, the permanent parking has been taken care of. We had discussed that too on South Avenue. And what else? Oh, and we talked about the ambulance service. And I thank the gentleman for coming this evening and giving his report and explaining some things. They also did a wonderful presentation which I watched on the necessity to change the structure with people having to start paying for the ambulance service. That's a very important thing. And they're hurting for money. They just do not have enough money to keep it going. So that is in the works right now. And that was what we had discussed in our meeting. So I thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Communications, Mr. Floda.
Yeah, I have an update real quick. Couple meetings ago, we approved Rotary Club's plans on installing more flags for the veterans.
Right.
They recently contacted me after the agenda was made. Dr. Donald Stoner contacted me and said Rotary Club plans on installing sleeves for the flags on Friday before Mother's Day, which would be May 12th. The time of day will be to be determined when we get closer to the date. And also the date may change by a day or two, depending on weather. It's raining, they'll obviously won't do it, but push it a day or do it the day before. And they also have notified PA one call about possible utility lines being in the area, and they will get a diagram of the utilities before they start anyway. But I just wanted to let council know that they plan on doing some work there on that. Putting sleeves in is pretty easy. They just drill a hole in the ground and slide a little PVC tube. So if you would like DPW or AJ to be there to supervise in the beginning, just let me know and I will contact Dr. Stoner and we could set up a time for them. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Floda. Infrastructure and Asset Management, Mr. President Showalter.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'll be meeting next Wednesday is our next committee meeting. We'll be continuing to update those inventories. So hope to have more for you on that soon. So other than that, nothing further at this time.
Thank you very much. Community Development, Mr. Long.
Yeah, the only thing I have is the LVAF, the Lower Valley Athletic Foundation, was donated a POS system from the Verona Village Inn. We have donated that to the Borough of Verona for the concession stand at Cribs. It is programmable, so anybody who uses a concession stand can program their own menu into it, and so I will be available to show anybody how to use it that needs to know how to use it. I've contacted RA to let them know and tell them I would be available for help.
Very good. Thank you. Is that it? We'll go to reports of special committees, Allegheny League of Municipalities, Alon, Mr. Provenza.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. The annual golf outing is going to be held on Monday, June the fifth, it's gonna be at Diamond Run Golf Club, and that's on, 132 Laurel Oak Drive in Sewickley. And this weekend is going to be the Spring Education Conference, and that's going to be at Seven Springs, and, we wish, Alon the very best with it, and that everybody that's going from here will enjoy it and bring back some very good information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
COGS, myself, and the COG meeting was canceled this month, so there's nothing to report this month. Old business, none. New business, we have a couple motions here to make. Resnick Landscaping, I'll need a motion to approve the contract for Resnick Landscaping in the amount of $8,941.25. Anybody want to make a motion?
Make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Craig. I'll second. Any questions?
Yeah, I'm just curious. This seems quite a bit more than we've paid them in the past. Did we increase our services?
There's a fall cleanup that was brought in last year, and the price of mulch went up,
Okay,
so. I mean, sooner or later, we were gonna feel the hit from the gas and all that kind of stuff, and they're the only ones actually that.
yeah. And are they, did you ever get a chance to talk to them? There was some issue about some dead bushes.
I've talked to them, I'm gonna walk with them, first time with them.
Oh, great. And do you know approximately when that's gonna be?
That-
In May? Okay, thank you.
I have a real quick question about this. It's kind of geared toward Matt. We are doing some improvements at Riverbank Park this year. I believe we've discussed maybe replacing the wood mulch with maybe a rubber mulch, or I recently saw at Penn Hills Park, I believe it was, they have a new playground surface. It looks like it's a wood mulch, but it's unrolled and it's rubber. It's probably about 2 inches thick. Would that be more cost efficient to pay for that one time and then not have to? Because I know we remulch every year in the playgrounds, or every 2 years or something. Would that be something we would possibly look into?
We can. The last time I looked at rubber mulch inspected, it was about 5 times the cost. And the issue with it is it still deteriorates. You
So
don't
it
have,
doesn't last 5 times as long.
you might get, but it all depends on the surrounding too. If you have a very muddy base and it starts to sink in, that's one of the big issues at Riverbank is it's not so much the mulch breaking down. It just gets smashed down into the ground. But certainly as part of the project, we can look into alternatives.
Yeah, especially since she just said the price of mulch is going up, it might be better, and we have to sort of raise the surface down there, because it's not ADA with that big step.
Yeah.
So that would help bring the playing surface up to be closer to ADA. So I just figured I'd throw it out there. Yep. That's it.
So does Resnick mulch the playground?
No, but she brought up the mulch went up, so it
Oh,
across
I
the
see.
board.
Yeah.
While we're.
Yeah.
This grant's in
Okay.
motion right now, so.
Yeah. Thanks.
Any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passed. I'll need, the next thing is a motion to approve the use of ARPA funds to contract with iWork Q
Yeah,
in the amount of $3,350.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Long,
Second.
second by Dr. Carpenter. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Against? Passed. The next is the motion to approve member of the Civil Service Commission.
We'll make a motion to appoint Pat McCarthy as to the position of Civil Service Commission.
Motion by Mr. Long to appoint Pat McCarthy to the Civil Service Commission. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Craig. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
That be me?
What's that?
I opposed.
Oh, do you oppose?
Mhm.
We need to, we put the alternate now too.
I'm sorry?
Can we appoint an alternate now also?
Sure.
How do you pronounce her last name?
Ramundi.
I'd like to propose Linda Lundy as the alternate for the Civil Service Commission.
Motion by Mr. Floda to appoint Linda Ramondi to this alternate member of the Civil Service Commission.
I'll second that.
Second by Dr. Carpenter. All, any questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Motion to approve removal of a member of the Parks and Rec Board.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Craig. I'll second. Any questions?
Well, I'm not quite sure, Craig, how this works, but do we have a roll call?
We're
for this
gonna-
vote?
We got it.
Okay,
Stephanie, I'd like to take a roll call on this vote, please.
Mr. Long,
I abstain.
Mr. Craig, Dr. Carpenter,
I'm gonna abstain and I'm gonna say the reason, and that's because I don't feel like I have sufficient information to make an educated vote.
Ms. Showalter,
Yes.
Bujovic,
Yes, and I'd like to make a comment too. The reason I'm for this is because we got this was a recommendation from our borough manager. There's been a lot of issues and we have to rely on our support staff, our borough manager and our office help. So that's why I'm voting yes.
Mr. Floda,
I abstain.
Ms. Lorenzo.
I'm going to abstain, but I respect everything that Stephanie has done, but at this time, I would just like to abstain.
So, the motion carries, it actually carries unanimously, 3-0. There were only 3 casts, so it's 3-0 with 4 abstentions.
Thank you. The next thing is a motion to approve advertisement of the code enforcement job opening.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Long,
I'll second.
second by Dr. Carpenter. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passed. Announcements, newsletter, Chamber of Commerce Historical Society, Trinborough Ministry.
Thank you.
Ms. Provenza?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Newsletter, we're currently taking ads and articles for the summer edition of the newsletter, which is going to cover June, July, and August. And the due date to turn in your ads and articles will be Monday, May 1st. And if you can even have them before that, that'll be great. We would appreciate it. Chamber of Commerce asked that I thank our entire council for the and mayor. And this would be the volunteering that they did, that we did at the Easter egg hunt. It was very well attended, very successful event. So from the chamber, a big thank you to all of us. And a reminder, please don't forget to get your dues paid for the Chamber of Commerce. I spoke with Stephanie, our president of the chamber, and she said all the mailings have gone out, and if everybody could start paying their dues, that would be wonderful. It would really be appreciated. And next chamber meeting is going to be next Tuesday, April 18th at 7 p.m. here in the Borough Building, and it's always open to the public. Historical Society, our next meeting is going to be held on Thursday, April the 20th at 7 p.m. here in the Borough Building. And the speaker is going to be Dick Williams, and he is a member of the Oakmont Historical Society. And he's going to be speaking on the monuments of South Dakota. And this is open to the public also. You're all welcome to come. There's no charge. These are great meetings. You learn so much. So do think about coming. We'd love to have you. Twin Borough Ministries, the community dinner is going to be held on Wednesday, April the 26th, from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. And it will be hosted by the James Barnes family. And suits are still available. If you would like to place an order, Shirley, who is here with us tonight, and thank you for coming, Shirley. We'll be glad to take your order, and you can reach Shirley at 412-828-3412. And if there are any other questions or comments, I'll be glad to take them. And if not, this concludes my reports, and I thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, you're welcome.
One last thing, Shade Tree Commission meeting, Monday, April 17th at 6:30 p.m. There's a link here, meet Google.
And I'll make sure it gets on the web.
Okay, thank you.
So
Stephanie, is that only digital?
And that's what it looks like.
Okay, because we have the zoning hearing board at that time.
but there's also a community development committee meeting.
They've already canceled the community. We've already discussed that with Tim.
Oh. Oh, it's,
So we already finished that. And then, yeah, and I'm positive going virtual, she didn't ask for,
Okay, no problem. I just wanted to double check.
and the zoning hearing board starts at 7 p.m.
We're starting at 6:30 for the board only to reorganize, and seven is open to the public.
Okay.
Comments from the public. At this time, council will hear comments on public related items. Please approach a podium or raise your virtual hand. Clearly state your name, address, and let your comment to 3 minutes, please.
I'm Shirley Davis from Twin Borough South Ministry. I wanted to let everybody know that this year we had Joy Barnes and family to do a dinner, and friends of hers also. We had the Oakmont Elks that is going to do a dinner, and the Verona Moose that is going to do a dinner. And then I believe that it was Stephanie
Garabay.
Okay, she has reached out to me that maybe the Chamber of Commerce wants to do a dinner. So I'm waiting to hear about that. So I just wanted to thank each and every one of you, and I want to apologize to you, Craig. I didn't mean to say shut up.
You're lucky I'm hard of hearing, because I can hear you.
But I thank each and every one of you.
Thank you, Shirley. Anybody else?
Question.
You have to come up.
Come to the podium, please.
I'm confused here.
There's-
You're saying that the Lower Valley ambulance service is gonna bill Verona. Is that correct?
The way, yes,
We already pay.
you
We
pay a
pay a
subscription fee.
Would that not be included in what you're trying to,
No,
okay.
no, you pay a family subscription fee.
Mhm.
Some people pay it, some people don't. I would think if every household paid it, we wouldn't have a big problem like this. But there's not too many people that pay it. So Lower Valley and the money it's all the ambulance services. It's not just Lower Valley.
Well, I've had plenty of ambulance services in the last 3 years, trust me.
So they're all hurting for money. So they're all starting to have their boroughs that they service, like Lower Valley services Verona, Springdale Township, Armor. There's 6 of them now. They're gonna be billing at the end of the year, each borough so much money for them to pay for their medics, their EMTs, the ambulance. These ambulances are $300,000 fully equipped. And it costs them so much money to run a call. I mean, it's not, there's just a lot behind it. And yes, they're gonna start building a borough, and what's a borough gonna do?
That was my next question.
Well,
How are
we're gonna have to
are you
try to
gonna
find the
bill
money.
us?
Well, we don't know how that's gonna work. We have to see from Lower Valley what we're gonna get paid or what we're gonna get billed and everything like that. This is all still up in the air. But we wanted to let everybody know ahead of time, because come budget season, if we have to come up with X amount of dollars, who knows where we're gonna get it,
Oh, sure.
right? There's only so much in the pot.
More and more communities, if you, sure you listen to the news, are asking, they are taking on money from the residents. Like you got a municipality at Penn Hills, that's added into their taxes. And a lot of communities, bigger communities, they add that into their taxes, for ambulance service, the itemized line for ambulance service.
I think
So-
Plum Borough bills each resident.
Yeah, I got bills. I got
the-
bills
the-
that I had to go back
the-
and forth with them over.
The North Hills cog, who provides ambulance service, just did a similar thing. All the member communities in the North Hills cog, like the member communities down here in the Allegheny Valley, North cog, they all passed a resolution in their communities where they would be billed $50 a household for the ambulance service. And, that's a reasonable rate, I believe.
I think that's about what we're paying. Huh?
Understand as a Plum resident, I can tell you, we have a subscription fee and it's in our taxes too, so.
And insurance too.
Partially, some insurances actually send the checks to the people, and then what happens is the people don't have to check on to the ambulance company. They would go on that one.
And I believe that with Oakmont, just with Parkview,
Right.
they're paying a rate per household now. I don't know what it is.
And they also are purchasing they're purchasing an ambulance.
That's correct.
And it's inevitable. I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
wanna
I
pay-
understand
I don't
that.
want to pay for higher taxes, and I don't want to pay for ambulance services. But when I get the bill, I'm gonna write the check out. I have to.
You have to.
I don't want to, but I have to.
It's a necessary
We all
service.
do, exactly.
And every first responder anymore are hard to find these volunteers or paid. Police officers are paid, hard to find police officers, volunteer firemen, like the chief back here, hard to find volunteer, hard to find first responders. So
Well, I understand because I was getting bills, like sometimes my husband had to be on call an ambulance, it's $1,500.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why we took out the membership, because we were using ambulances a lot, as some people here have, but I think this is a good idea, that you collect it from everybody.
Right.
I think that's a wonderful idea, so that, we're covered.
thank you.
Very good.
Getting older. I mean, our community's getting older,
Yeah, we are.
so, we have to be covered.
Right. Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
I just make to reiterate, we are covered.
We are covered. You're good.
We do have ambulance service. It's not gonna stop.
Maria Brolly.
My husband was taken to with the ambulance at the hospital. And so I had to go to the hospital. My insurance paid. And I had to pay a co-pay.
Sure.
So what is this different from? I mean,
That's all the billing. We don't have anything to do with the billing on that. That would be all through the ambulance service.
Right.
Yes, we
The
don't,
Insurance paid whatever, they didn't pay the whole.
right,
thing.
right.
So I had a co-pay to pay, which it was $100 every time, and the insurance paid less.
Correct.
So what is this you was talking about, which maybe I don't understand? What are they saying now?
They're gonna, the ambulance company's gonna be charging the borough a
Okay.
certain fee, whether it's, I don't know the number, $5,000, $100,000.
Okay.
So the borough's gonna pay them, the ambulance company, to subscribe to them.
It would have to be agreed to. It would be a mutual thing.
Okay.
They can't impose the fee. But of course, they're not going to provide the service if we don't come to a mutual agreement.
Now, is this, has anything to do, because when that happened to me, the ambulance could come from the area, so it came from grown-ups.
No,
No,
It doesn't make
No.
no difference.
no.
Okay,
no, ma'am.
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Luke Maddox?
Might be Kathy.
Hello, yeah, it is Kathy, 234 Penn Street, Kathy Maddox. I missed the very beginning of Matt's discussion about the concession stand at Cribs. I have a vested interest in this. I had reached out to the health department personally. on behalf of the Verona Community Group, because we do throw what we're trying to establish as an annual picnic, late summer, early fall. And I did get the information that as it stands now, we would at least need a temporary permit, which costs $45, and a temporary hand washing station, which I have no idea how much that costs. And I heard discussion about potentially doing the updates that are needed to avoid all that. Is there a estimated timeline for that to occur?
I will work with the county, but the last email said that the plumbing division is behind and could take 4 to 5 weeks for plan review.
Okay, yeah, our picnic is scheduled at the end of September. I mean, of course, it'd be good for this to be done for anybody besides us that want to utilize that prior. And we just work on such a bare minimum budget as our small little community group to incur, like $45 for the permit and, potentially a couple $100 for a temporary hand washing station is going to be a hardship. And we'd hate to do without like having the traditional element of grilling the burgers there that just adds something to the event.
Yeah, I'll work with the county. This was just something new that came up
Right.
recently. I mean, the actual addition of the sink in switching the 2 bowl to a 3 bowl is not very hard at all. Our guys could probably even handle it in-house. So I'll discuss this with the county to see. Technically, it does require plan review, but being that the facility is so new and it's them that change the regulations. I'll see if we just can't kind of move forward with it and then kind of permit it after the fact.
Okay, yeah, I will stay, in tune to see how that's looking, to see if we need to pursue anything outside of, anything not getting done by that time. But besides that, I also want to thank Craig for mentioning the annual spring litter cleanup that we coordinate. In the past couple of years, it's been a weekend event, virtually, independently inspired by COVID, which really isn't much of a thing now, but people seem to like that because it gives them a lot of flexibility to go out at their convenience to tackle a small area of the borough. I did want to mention we are having a little bit rougher of a time getting people to volunteer for this year's event. And part of what we had done in prior spring cleanups was paint the benches at Riverbank Park, and we're just not going to have the resources to do that this year. I do want to mention that I know that there's some amount of paint in the borough garage, I believe. I think it was getting pretty low. I don't know if that's something, that can get taken care of by our, the borough guys or not, because there are some slats on the benches that had absolutely no paint. They were like new, they were replaced recently, and a lot of the other ones are peeling. So those definitely need to be touched up. But that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
So just before we adjourn, with regard to the motion to remove the individual from the rec board, well, everybody up here knows who they voted for. Nobody mentioned a name, so I just want the minutes to be clear that the individual that the vote was taking on was, it may have been mentioned in public comment, I don't remember, but it was, I believe, is it Mike Rebecca was the individual. Are we all in agreement with that?
Yes,
Okay, and let the minutes reflect that.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Take a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Long, second by Mrs. Provenza. Thank you for attending, everybody. Thank you.